hello, everyone. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us for our college success workshop on time management. So I'd like to start our workshop by asking everyone to take just a few slow, deep breaths. Life has been hectic, right? So starting now, and you can feel free to turn off your camera for this activity. Your eyes may be open or closed. And I want you to just focus your attention on your breath. Taking slow inhale and slow exhale. Notice any pains or muscle tightness in your body. And continue to inhale and slowly exhale. Just taking slow, deep breath. Let go of the day. Let go of any thoughts that might distract you from the present moment. And let us be mindful and be present with our thoughts, with our emotions, with our physical sensations, without any judgments. Let us be in the present moment. One last inhale and slow exhale. Thank you, everyone, for practicing a minute of mindfulness meditation with me. Studies have shown many benefits of mindfulness, including helping the quality of our attention. Ms. Sanchez, I don't know if we're on the record yet, but if you could help us check on that and record, if we want to record, I just want to bring your attention to that.
Yep, it looks like it's recording on my end. I'm not sure. Yeah, all good.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sanchez. Hi, everyone. So my name is Linda Tran. I am an adjunct professor of business in the business administration at the Pleasant Hill campus. This will be a hands-on workshop. So therefore, to maximize this workshop, it will be best if you have a computer, a notebook, some paper, or pen and pencil with you. So if you want to take a moment to just grab those items, that would work as well. So an estimated 90% of college students procrastinate. 25% of these college students become chronic procrastinators, and many end up dropping out of college. Time management is one of the hot topics requested by DVC students for workshops, and therefore it's truly my privilege to talk about it today. And now that you're here, I'd like to ask and hear from you. So internalize this question. Why is the topic of time management important to you? So go ahead and take a moment to internalize, and then feel free to type your response in the chat, but don't hit return yet. We're gonna enter our return all at the same time. So just take a minute to think about why is the topic of time management important to you? And as I mentioned, it is a hot topic requested by DVC students for the last few semesters. Students want to hear about time management. All right, so I'm going to ask you to put your response in the chat box, and then we're going to do a countdown together. We'll count, 5 to 1, and then everyone will hit enter. So then we can see everyone's response at the same time. Sounds good? Maybe a thumbs up. All right, so once you have your response ready, go ahead and put the thumbs up once you have your response ready, and then we'll do the countdown. So again, that question is, why is the topic of time management important to you? So I think it looks like at least half of you here are ready. So I'm gonna do a countdown, right? And then when I say go, everyone's gonna hit the response. You're gonna drop in the chat box. So 5, 4, 3, 2. What's your response? 2, 1, go. Give me just a moment, and everyone too, just to see what your fellow peers are saying. Helps me stay organized and accountable. Hate leaving things last minute, reaching my goals to achieve personal success. So just take a moment to see what everyone else, why everyone else thinks time management is important. So have any of these ever happened to you? Have you found yourself in any of these situations? Missing deadlines, producing poor work quality than you are actually capable of? If you've ever experienced a professional or personal, poor professional or personal reputation because you didn't follow through something you said you would? Or have you experienced high stress levels due to inefficiencies, not getting things done or not getting things done on time? So spending a little time learning about time management techniques will have huge benefits now and throughout your career. So I'm really glad to see everyone who is here today. You agree that we all have the same amount of time each day, right? Which is 24 hours or 1,440 minutes. A lot, if not all of us, have busy schedules. I hear from students all the time. You have 2 jobs, you have to take care of your siblings, you have other people you're responsible for, call breaking down, so many things. So between work, school, family, friends, hobbies, special interests, anything else you can think of, everything that we want done, it seems there's never enough time, right? There's just never enough time. Now, at the same time, do you also notice how some people achieve much more with their time than others? So what you do with your time, the 24 hours that we all have, that's going to determine our successes, our failures, and our contentment in life. You're here for time management, but you see, life is not about getting more time. It's really a hard practice of managing the time that we have. And in order to do that, we'll want to plan, prioritize, and invest our time wisely. So again, we want to plan, we want to prioritize and invest our time wisely. So is it time management or is it self-management? Here's our tentative agenda for today. I know Europe students, you have to leave early for your next class. So when the time is up, feel free to sign out and go to your next class. I do appreciate everyone who is here. I want to share a 3.5-minute video with you. It's called Know Your Why by comedian Michael Jr. So I'm going to ask you to pay close attention to what he said in the first minute. And then that way you'll appreciate what happens at the end. So pay close attention to what he said in the first minute. Oops.
I'm going to make a bold statement and say that doing a TEDx talk is going to be the most transformative and uplifting experience.
How do I know? A lot of people, when they think of the phrase, how do I know, they always want to put the what behind it. How do I know what I'm supposed to do? The question that you really should ask is, how do I know why I'm here? Because when you know your why, your what becomes more clear and more impactful. If you know, like for instance, people know that I do comedy, but that's what I do. My why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. So I can do comedy, I can write books, I can be in a movie, because all of it is motivated by my why. In fact, I have a new web series out called Michael Jr. Break Time. We probably just did the 6th episode. It's on YouTube. So every single Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode on YouTube of Michael Jr. Break Time. What it is it's me. I travel around the country and I do stand-up comedy, in case you didn't know. And in the middle of my comedy set sometime, I'll stop and just talk to my audience. And we've been filming this, and it's pretty cool. So we're in Winston-Salem. I'm gonna show you a clip from Winston-Salem. And I'm just talking to this guy in the audience, and he tells me that he's a musical instructor at a school. So I was like, all right, you're a musical instructor, can you sing? Let me hear you sing a song. So this is what happened at the last episode of Michael Jr.'s Break Time. Check it. So you're a musical director? Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Wow. That bro could sing, you know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what you give me the version is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick, if you know which version I'm talking about. Just see if that exists. Let me see what you got.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now, right now I'm found, was blind, but now I see.
Let's go. Now. Okay. Here's what I want you to catch. The first time I asked him to sing, he knew what he was doing. The second time, he knew why he was doing it. When you know your why, your what becomes more impactful because you're walking towards or in your purpose.
All right, so everyone, I hope that inspire you to think deeply why you're here, why you're really here for this time management workshop, what's truly important to you. We're gonna focus, right, and prioritize. So I prepared this Jamboard, and I like for us to take, how much? I carve in 3 minutes. I've carved in 3 minutes for us to do this activity. So in the chat box, there's a link to this Jamboard that you see. And the way that you can write on the Jamboard is you can click on this vertical navigation bar to the far left, either use a sticky note right there. Once you click on it, it'll allow you to type, or you can use the text right there and type. So go to page 1 at the top. You can go to page 2. If you need more space, there's a page 3. So just go to page 3. The first 3 pages, that's what we're doing right now. And we'll do that for 3 minutes. Everything you write on Jamboard is anonymous, but I hope that helps you to think deeply about your why. So start with, why are you attending today's workshop on time management? And it doesn't end there, because you're not just here for extra credits. You're not just here for your grade or to do well. There's more meaning and purpose than just that, right? So keep contributing on that Jamboard, your why. So I'm going to set a timer for 2.5 more minutes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to everyone who contributed on the Jamboard, your why. There's page 2 of your why. And page 3 of your why. I'm sensing a deep sense of purpose in this group. Thank you very much for sharing that. If you want more time on the Jamboard, feel free to come back to it, or feel free to start jotting down in your notebook on your phone so you can remind yourself of your why. Okay, is anyone here familiar with Stephen Covey's work? The late Stephen Covey was an American educator, author, businessman, and keynote speaker. He won numerous awards for his work. One of his popular books is this one right here, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I highly recommend it. It's something that you can always reference back. It's a timeless book. So Stephen Covey developed an excellent method of setting priorities by examining each task in terms of urgency and importance. So if you look at this 2x2 matrix, or the 4 quadrants of time management, all of our activities can be categorized into one of these quadrants. The first one is the urgent and important. we have to tend to these activities right away. So for example, a machine is broken, your car breaks down, you have a crying baby, you got to tend to it right away, right? Those things cannot wait. The second quadrant are things that we do that are not urgent, but important. For example, planning for business, preventive healthcare, professional development, listening in our relationships, preparing for meetings, setting our goals. Quadrant 2. Quadrant 3 are the things that are urgent and not important. So they could be things that are important to other people and you feel it's urgent, but it's actually not important to you. That's the quadrant 3. Urgent, they feel urgent, but they're actually not important to you. Drop-in visitors, doing favors for others, opening certain types of mails, urgent, but actually not important. And then the fourth quadrant are the non-urgent and not important activities that we do. So as we're going through this, think about how much time you spend doing these things in quadrant number 4. They're not urgent and they're not important. So that would be mindlessly watching TV, reading mindless books, mindlessly playing computer games, surfing the internet for no particular purpose. Or it could be things that you could pay others to do that is cheaper or quicker than if you would have done it yourself. That could also belong to quadrant 4 activities. So as we're going through these 4 quadrants again, try to identify for yourself the types of activities that you engage in, how much time you spend in each of these activities. So quadrant 1, urgent, important. So that's a crisis. So you have to manage the crisis. So you have to drop everything in order to manage activities in quadrant 1. Activities in quadrant 2, they are not urgent, but important. So those are areas where you can be proactive. So for those of us who constantly find ourselves in quadrant 1, we tend to neglect activities in quadrant 2. For example, regular car maintenance. If we don't do that, it's going to lead to quadrant 1, right? It's going to lead into crisis. Taking care of our health, getting regular checkups and preventive cares. That doesn't feel urgent, but it's actually very important, because what happens when we neglect that, when we neglect quadrant 2 activities, now we're going to see more of quadrant 1 crises. Or not fostering and developing important relationships. That belongs to quadrant 2. How about how much time and activities are you currently doing or that you've done in the last week that are quadrant 3? They're kind of distracting and deceiving because they feel urgent, but in the grand scheme of things, they're actually not important to you. But they do feel urgent. And hopefully for quadrant 4, these are time wasters. Hopefully you'll be able to identify them real quick. Things that are just a waste of time. All right, so I have an activity for us. So what we're going to do now is to identify these areas, the activities that we do that are in any of these quadrants. So we're going to go back to that Jamboard, and you will see it on page 4 of the Jamboard, page 5 and 6, 4, 5, and 6. Let's see what you can identify, how you spend your time, where they are right now, and where you want them to be. So for this, I'll put a 3-minute timer so everyone can contribute to page 4 4, 5, or 6? So we're identifying our activities, and they either belong in quadrant 1, urgent and important. We want to reduce those as much as possible by engaging in quadrant 2 activities, which are important, but they don't feel urgent. So quadrant 2 is being proactive, taking actions on things that matter, but even though they might not feel urgent. And we want to identify quadrant 3, which could be kind of tricky. They feel urgent, but they're not important. And quadrant 4, hopefully those are easy to identify. Those are just time wasters. So once you start to see the activities and the patterns of how you spend your time, the goal is to make a conscious effort to spend more of your time doing things in quadrant 2. And that in turn will help to reduce crises in quadrant 1. Whatever we see in 3 and 4, we want to reduce time in those activities because they don't serve us. Great. So that was 3 minutes of us spending time on the Jamboard, identifying our activities and where they belong. So hopefully this gives you an idea if you want to spend more time later tonight and just to think about these things and reprioritize your time. So once we set our priorities, we know where we should be spending our time, right? Okay, how about this weekly planner? I'm gonna launch a poll. And see what everyone is using to help them plan their time. Okay, I'll definitely share the response with you. About 2/3 of you have responded. What tools do you use to help you plan your time? All right, so about 90% of you have responded. I'll wait another 10 seconds and I'll end the poll. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it looks like the majority of you are using some sort of tools to help you plan your week, whether that's Google Calendar or other types of calendar or planner. Outlook Calendar, fantastic. Thanks for sharing, Larry. Nobody's using Yahoo Calendar, all right. And 10% of you, so 1 out of 10 here, they're not using anything. So this is something to consider, right? You can use it, if you're more of a phone person, you can use it on your mobile, or if you like to write things down, you can download something that looks similar to this online and write it down. Okay, so it looks like about the majority of you use some type of tools to help you plan. So then the next question is, are you using it effectively? Is the way that you are architecting your time serving you well? How do you architect your time? Is what you are doing with your time meeting your purpose that matters to you? So here are some planning tips. So right now, if you have something that's in that quadrant 1 that needs to be done, let's put it in. Let's put a date, a time, and let's get it done. The trick is also to include buffer times between activities, because we don't want to set ourselves for failure, right? Putting too much things in than practically possible. So there's buffer time. We need to buffer our times. And then quadrant 2 activities, since we are all from DVC, we're all going to school, then I would imagine every one of us would have study time built into a week. So the way to do effective studying time into a week is to put them into chunks. If you say, okay, I'm going to study all of Monday, the whole Monday, that's all I'm going to do. Is that practical? Is that realistic? Right? How about rest time? How about break time? Scheduling downtime. You need time for yourself, right? Somebody mentioned about self-care. So those need to be on the planner so that we can do it. Even time for self-care should be on the planner. Regular activities. So be sure to include buffer between activities. Your to-do list, put it on your schedule so they get done. And since we're all in school, we probably have a lot of deadlines with different classes. So if you look at Canvas, there's a calendar on Canvas. See if you can synchronize it for those of you who use Google or Outlook. Synchronize Canvas due dates into the calendar that you are using right now. So the next few slides, we're going to talk about tips and tools to overcome procrastinations, help you get things done, studying techniques. And not everything that I'm about to share with you will work for all of you. So I'm sharing as much as possible. And my recommendation is to try these techniques and see what works for you, because what works for us is going to be different. So the first technique is the 5-minute plan. So somebody mentioned about being a procrastinator. So what you can do is start doing anything just for 5 minutes. Force yourself to do it. Whatever you have on that to-do list, we all have to-do lists, right? We know that we have things to do. We know what they are. At least we know half of what they are, what they're supposed to be. So just start on anything on that to-do list for 5 minutes. Even if you say, I'm just gonna set a timer for 5 minutes. So the key is to get started. Once you get started, it's gonna change from there. But the key is just to get started. So that's the 5-minute plan. Maybe, something simple like that, if that helps you. Second technique, how about a worst first approach. So some of us are probably familiar with this dilemma where we rather do all the little things, all the easy things. We'll do everything except that important thing that, you know, just kind of follow in the back of our mind all day long. And then we keep doing the little things, and we figure once we finish the little things, we'll get to that big thing, and then it just doesn't happen. So the worst first approach is you tackle the task that you dread the most. So you can try doing that. And then once you do that, you can imagine the rest of the day will be easy. That big task is not going to follow you all day. Another technique to overcome procrastination. This is the 5-minute break plan technique, or the Pomodoro technique. So what is this about? The average person's attention span is very short. There was a study done by the University of Illinois where 4 groups of people worked on a brain-intensive task for 50 minutes. So the group, they found the group that took the more breaks had the highest mental stamina, and at the end of the 50 minutes. So what does this mean to you? What you can try is to put a timer to take 5 minutes break for every 25 minutes of productivity. Or if that's too short and you can last longer, maybe plan for 90 minutes. So for every 90 minutes, take a 15 minutes break. Even if you feel like you still have a lot of energy, it's still good for you to take a break. This will also help to avoid burnout. A lot of us are feeling burnout. And when we feel burnout, we'll be less productive, less creative, we'll produce less quality work than what we're capable of. Another technique. Are you a morning person or are you a night owl? You probably have the answer to that, right? So if you're a night owl, chances are you're most productive during the night. So there's no right or wrong way. If you are a night owl and you found that you are sharpest and most productive at night, then plan your work around that time where you are most productive. And if it's in the morning, then plan your high concentration tasks in the morning, if you're a morning person. Another technique to help get you started and avoid procrastination is journaling, which a lot of students have responded to really well. Is journaling. What do you do when you're journaling? So for a lot of you, you might think that journaling is writing down your thoughts, right? You can also write down what's really stressing you out. Why do you not want to start this project right now? What is it that you're dreading? So if it works for you, write down why you are stressed about it. Just start by journaling that. Why is it not manageable? Why don't you want to do it? And then from that process, hopefully you will discover something that could lead you to actually being productive. Or if you're not so much into journaling, you can do 2 columns of the pros and cons, right? What are the positive consequences or results of me completing this project that I'm dreading? And then the cons will be what would be so bad, or the consequences if I don't do this, or if I do it late. So if that works for you, you can try that too. Last but not least, and I'm seeing this more often too, make self-care a priority. Ask for help when needed. Make sure you reach out and ask for help when needed. And ways you can do that: plan time to reduce the noise by switching off technology, reducing the screen time. So sometimes when I find myself overwhelmed, I'll do a digital detox. I call it a digital detox day. Like a Saturday, I'm not gonna touch my phone or get on the computer. And I do something and then I come back with a fresh mindset. Like a refresh, recharge. Right? So make sure you set aside time for that too. Don't just think about it, just set aside in your calendar. Because that's very important. And there are some tools that I want to share with you. I think it is best after this work. So we're going to conclude the workshop pretty soon, but I'm going to direct you to this self-assessment test to see how good you are with your time management. And then there are some tips based upon your response to that. So I'm going to drop it in the chat box right now. And you can take this test after we end our session shortly. So there it is right there. And on top of that, I'm also going to share with you additional resources. If you're more of a digital person and you like to get apps to help you plan your weeks and your time, there are some apps recommendation in this document. So let me share it in here and then make sure you download it before you leave. Let's see. Time management additional resources. So it's there, it's a PDF document, download it. So in that PDF document is a link to take you to that self-assessment on time management and also information on other resources and apps that you can use to help you with that planning process. So I hope you continue to reflect and build on the activities that we did together today. I hope you take some time to think and plan your priorities, execute them, and eventually turn these time management skills into a daily habit. And habit can take anywhere from 17 days to 254 days. So an average of 66 days to build a habit. So thank you very much, everyone, for your time today. And I hope you find it helpful. Make sure to download that document in the chat box.